The Heart of Gold. Chapter 1. The Boy with the Big Heart. In a small sunlit town nestled between green hills and quiet streams, there lived an 11-year-old boy named Daniel. He wasn't the tallest or the loudest among his classmates, but he was known by everyone for one thing: his heart. Daniel had a special way of noticing people who needed help, especially the elderly. Every morning before school, Daniel would visit his grandmother, who lived just down the road. He made her tea, swept her porch, and helped organize her medicine. They would often sit together for a few quiet minutes, sipping tea and sharing stories. His grandmother would tell him about the past, about days when phones had cords and letters were written by hand. Daniel loved those stories. They made the past feel alive. On weekends, he'd walk to Mr. and Mrs. Collins's house, a couple in their 80s who loved to sit in the garden but struggled to prune the roses. Daniel did it for them with a smile. He also helped fix the wobbly garden bench, painted the fence, and sometimes brought his sketchbook to draw the flowers while keeping them company. It didn't stop there. He helped Miss Harriet, the retired teacher, carry her groceries every Thursday from the town market. He repaired the bird feeder for Mr. Young, a quiet widower who found peace in feeding sparrows. On rainy days, Daniel would bring soup from his mother's kitchen to Mrs. Dalka, who lived alone with her cat. Daniel didn't ask for rewards. In fact, he often refused them. "Helping is the reward," he would say with a grin. He had learned this from his parents, his mother, a nurse who cared for others without complaint, and his father, a carpenter who often did small repairs in the neighborhood for free. They didn't have much money, but the love in their home was richer than gold. Their living room was filled with books, laughter, and the smell of fresh bread on Sundays. Chapter 2. The Kindness Tree. One chilly fall afternoon, Daniel saw a woman struggling to rake leaves in front of her small cottage at the edge of town. Her name was Miss Adele, and she had arthritis that made even small tasks painful. Her hands shook with each stroke, and leaves danced around her in the wind. Without hesitation, Daniel grabbed a rake and started helping her. She looked at him, startled at first, then softened with a smile. "You must be Daniel," she said. "I've heard about you." They spent the afternoon chatting as they worked. She told him stories of her youth, her late husband who once played the violin in the city orchestra, and how much the world had changed. Daniel listened with genuine curiosity, asking thoughtful questions, making her laugh. Before he left, Miss Adele smiled and said, "You know, kindness is like planting a tree. It grows slowly, but one day it becomes a forest that shelters everyone, even you." Daniel didn't understand it fully at the time, but her words stayed with him. He thought of them every time he helped someone else. Chapter 3. Seeds of Change. Years passed. Daniel continued helping people, and the town began to notice. When he turned 14, the mayor invited him to speak at the annual community gathering. It was the first time Daniel stood in front of such a big crowd. His voice trembled at first, but his message was clear. One small act can change someone's whole day, maybe even their life, he said. The town applauded. A local reporter published a story about him titled "The Boy with the Heart of Gold." It was shared on social media and went viral. People from across the country sent him letters, thanking him for inspiring them. A tech entrepreneur named Mr. Lando saw the article and reached out. "We need more people like you," he wrote. "Come join our innovation program for young changemakers." Daniel accepted, not for fame, but because he saw a chance to learn how to help people on a bigger scale. He left for the city with a duffel bag full of ideas and a heart full of hope. Chapter 4. The Young Visionary. By the time Daniel was 16, he had developed a mobile app called Silver Circle, a platform that connected volunteers with elderly people who needed help with daily tasks, everything from house cleaning to companionship calls. The app grew quickly, spreading across towns and cities. Users praised its simplicity and the warmth of its mission. But Daniel didn't stop there. He created learning hubs where young people could learn technical and social skills, mentored by older retirees who still had so much wisdom to share. The hubs became bridges between generations, places filled with coding classes, storytelling circles, and music lessons. Investors took notice, not just because of the business model, but because of Daniel's sincerity. He reinvested profits into communities, built homes for struggling elderly people, and offered free healthcare services where he could. He traveled from city to village, from boardrooms to backyards, always carrying the same message. Kindness is a seed that grows stronger when shared. Chapter 5. A Rich Life. At 18, Daniel was listed among the world's youngest and most impactful entrepreneurs. His net worth climbed into the billions, but he still lived in the same town, visited his grandmother every weekend, and raked leaves for Miss Adele, now in her 90s. He built a foundation called Heart of Gold, dedicated to supporting elder care and youth leadership. The foundation's first project was a center in his hometown, where older residents could receive care and companionship, and young people could volunteer and learn. When asked in interviews about his secret to success, Daniel always said, "It started with helping one person at a time. That's all it takes." He refused luxury cars and grand offices. His favorite moments were still quiet ones, drinking tea with grandma, helping fix a fence, watching the sunrise from the hill behind his house. Epilogue. The Forest. Many years later, at a public ceremony, Miss Adele's quote was engraved at the entrance of Daniel's foundation headquarters. "Kindness is like planting a tree. It grows slowly, but one day it becomes a forest that shelters everyone, even you." Daniel smiled as he read the words. Around him were people of all ages, from every background, volunteers, mentors, friends, and family. The building behind him buzzed with life, laughter, learning, and love. His kindness had indeed grown into a forest, a place where strangers became friends, where generations helped one another, and where hope bloomed every day. And he, the boy with the heart of gold, had become a shelter for the world. The end.